Before a sword was drawn, before a single arrow flew, men were already dying, not from the blade, but from the world itself. Starvation, disease, exhaustion, panic. The glory of medieval war was a lie, told by many who never stood in the mud. For the real soldiers of the Middle Ages, battle wasn't a clash of knights and honor. It was survival in a sea of misery. And often, the fight ended before it began. Because on the fields of Europe, death rolled long before the banners arrived. The hidden killer, disease and filth. The deadliest enemy of medieval warfare wasn't the sword, it was disease. Camps filled with thousands of men living shoulder to shoulder, surrounded by rotting food, open latrines, and swarms of flies. Soldiers drank from the same river they bathed in and ate spoiled meat, crawling with disease and filth. Historical records from the 100 Years' War and Crusade show that more soldiers died from dysentery, typhus, or infection more than combat itself. Here are a couple of examples. The Black Prince's 1355 campaign saw troops dropping from camp fever before any major battle. During the siege of Acre, disease wiped out nearly half of the crusading army before the final assault. A single infected wound could fester and kill in days. A cup of dirty water could claim hundreds. To fight was an honor. To survive long enough to fight, a miracle. Hunger and exhaustion. Before battle, soldiers often marched for weeks, sometimes barefoot, starving, and soaked in rain. Armies of the 13th and 14th centuries rarely had stable supply lines. Food spoiled, horses died, bread turned black with mold. Chroniclers of Agincourt noted that many English archers collapsed from fatigue and hunger before the French line even approached. And in long sieges like Calais, starvation became a weapon. Men ate rats, dogs, and boiled leather just to live another day. War wasn't just fought with blades, it was fought with empty stomachs. And for many, the famine killed long before the enemy ever could. Fear and chaos. Even for the strong, the mind could betray the body. Imagine the field, the stench of sweat, iron, and death, the deafening roar of thousands, the drums, the horn. Panic was a killer in its own right. In battles like Crécy and Poitiers, many men fled before swords crossed, trampled to death by their own ranks. Once formation broke, chaos devoured all discipline. Some soldiers drowned in their own armor trying to flee across rivers. Others died of heat stroke beneath the weight of steel and leather. Battle was not glorious. It was terror, mud, and suffocation beneath your fallen comrade. From that spirit of struggle and sacrifice rises the Armored Kingdom or the Kingdom Necklace, a symbol of loyalty, courage, and remembrance for all those who stood in the shield wall, engraved with the word Deus Vult. God wills it. It honors those who fought not for riches, but for purpose. Forged in solid steel with my king's helmet at its heart, it reminds us that true strength lies not just in armor, but in conviction. Wear it as a mark of courage, a pledge to stand firm, stand for what's right. Wear what the knights once swore by. the true cost of battle. For every glorious painting of knights on horseback, there were hundreds of dead rotting in the mud. The truth, the average medieval soldier rarely saw a heroic charge. Most died nameless, from plague, from wound, or from other chaos that followed the drums. At Agincourt, an estimated 6,000 Frenchmen perished, but 1,000 more died later from untreated wounds and disease. After Toten, the bloodiest battle of the Wars of the Roses, survivors wrote that the snow itself ran red for days. And yet, the killing continued long after, through hunger and infection. Glory belonged to the few, but death belonged to everyone. Legacy of the Fallen. The men who fought beneath those banners didn't do so for fame. They fought because they had to. For land, for king, for survival. They remind us that courage is not an absence of fear. It is standing firm despite it. That even when the world is cruel, loyalty still matters. So when you wear the Armored Kingdom for the Kingdom necklace, remember them. The forgotten soldier who bled, starved, and endured. Their battle shaped kingdoms. Their sacrifice forged nations. And their spirit lives on in every heart that still dares to stand for the kingdom.